very warm greetings to you as you join us on today's episode of Tax Matters. My name is Oduba Matuluko. Last episode, we were talking about taxpayer identification number TIN. And we had two gentlemen in the house, in the studio, Mr. Abubakar, the Executive Secretary of the Joint Tax Board, and Mr. Oduba, the Project Manager for the TIN program. And we touched on a lot of matters. Today, we want to take off from where we stopped. We're going to, for example, look at what is in it for you and me. What is in TIN for the taxpayer? The program once again is Tax Matters, and my name is Oduba Matuluko. Gentlemen, you are welcome once again.
Thank you.
What does it entail to register for TIN? Am I going to pay any amount of money?
To obtain TIN is free. And then for individual, what you are expected to do when you want to obtain a TIN is to walk up to nearest tax office to you, be it State Board of Internal Revenue Office or Federal Revenue Service Office. And then you'll be required to fill a form. Start with filling a form. The form has some fields which you will be asked to provide information for. For example, the name, your full name, your address, your source of income or nature of business if you are self-employed, and then the biometric, your data will be taken. We're talking about the 10-finger biometrics here. So that's for individual, and then the tax authority will now process this information and then thereafter issue with a card that will contain a number and all those information. And then for corporate body, just like Mr. Oduba earlier said, the organization will not require a capture of fingerprints. So it will just get all the necessary information, as I earlier said. You use RC, the CSC RC number in place of a corporate body. And also for individuals, I say, and you also may need, you also require some kind of identification just to further authenticate the information you have given. Say you've given your address, and then you also you'll be required to show some kind of identification, either driver's license, international passport, or wherever. When those things, if those things are not available, then your employment ID card will surface. Yes.
Mr. Oduba, I was asking you earlier about the linkages, and you explained that this thing will be linked to the CBN. When I want to open an account, they will ask for my TIN, immigration for passport acquisition, and all that. And I got this sneaky feeling that you are just trying to expose me, that there will be no hiding place. Do I have anything to fear? Is it like Big Brother watching? Or is there something that will be to my advantage as a taxpayer?
Well, certainly there will be a lot to the taxpayer. One of the benefits will be that it will reduce the incidences of you being made to pay a particular tax severally across tax authorities. So, because every tax authority will now have access such that they can confirm whether indeed that tax has been paid by you already in another tax authority. And so you don't have to pay that again. A lot of taxpayers do complain about double taxation. And so this will reduce the incidences of that. And so to a taxpayer, that is more money in his own pocket and a relief or that headache or having to deal and explain over and over again to a tax authority for a tax that you have already paid will just disappear.
Okay.
So for a taxpayer, yes, there's something that is going to benefit.
Okay. What is the need for the tax collector, for the tax authorities? What is in TIN for them?
Yeah, we've already, like I was mentioned earlier, the first thing is the tax authority will use it in certain targets because they've already known their taxpayer. And again, in addition to avoiding, providing us opportunity to reduce multiplicity of tax, or what we call double taxation, it also gives the taxpayer the chance of being assessed, by the relevant authority. Sometimes in the past, where there's no this kind of unique identification, your income is taxed at different points, which is a little bit different from the multiple taxation we're talking about. So it's an advantage indirectly to even tax authority. For example, if you have shares, and at the end of the year, your company is paying you dividend. Dividend also attracts tax at 10%.
Withholding tax.
Yes, withholding tax at 10%. So that dividend will be paid to your state of resident, the state where you are resident as an individual.
Okay.
The company may be at the corporate headquarters, for example, Lagos. The payment will be done in Lagos, but as soon as it's done, because of your team reflect address in somewhere in Port Harcourt, it goes to Rivers State.
That's good.
Yes, so it's both way, both for the taxpayer and also for the tax authority.
Okay.
And when you are now declaring, when you are now filing returns, for tax purposes, you'll be able to state that you are paid your dividend. Even if you don't give the information, automatically the information will be available. So it's actually a way of, it's advantageous to both tax payer and tax officer.
Now, one of the papers that was presented at the 6 fora, the 6 workshops that you organized, was on the imperatives of the amended Personal Income Tax Act and the need for a reliable taxpayer identification number scheme.
Yeah.
It was delivered by Barrister Aladeshewe.
Yeah.
What is the link between Tin and Peter?
Yes.
That is personal income tax.
Yeah. The section 86 of the Personal Income Tax Amendment Act 2011 had made it compulsory for tax payers to, has made it mandatory for tax authorities to insert TIN on the tax clearance certificate
of the individual,
issue of the individual and even corporate bodies. So it there means that if you know the purpose, what tax clearance certificate is meant for are also stated in the Act. There are about 26 transactions that if you are going into, you must provide tax clearance certificate.
Okay.
For example, you want to obtain certificate of occupancy in respect of land, or you want to pay for certain services for government, you'll be required to show tax clearance certificate. You want to pick contract with government, you'll be required to show tax clearance certificate. So the tax clearance certificate will you further be required to provide TIN before the tax clearance certificate can be processed. So it is provided in the
Personal Income Tax Amendment Act. Okay. So TIN is now very, very, very important, very crucial to the system. Mr. Oduba, in these days of online, that, can I register online?
Yes. The system will provide for online registration 2 ways. For the corporate bodies, you can start and end the process. Complete their online form, request for your TIN, and the TIN is issued, and you print your certificate by yourself online. For individuals, you can go to the system, complete the form, request for the TIN. However, at that point, it will now require you to submit yourself to the tax authority to capture your fingerprints.
Which cannot be done online.
Which can be done online for now. Maybe in the future, there might be a technology that can take your online fingerprint, but for today, You need to physically be present in a tax authority to capture your fingerprint.
That's for the individual.
For the individual.
What is the link? If I want to register for a corporate body, for example, what is the link? What do I need to do? You said I can go online.
Yeah, for a corporate body, you have access to the internet. You go to the JTB website. You call up the TIN registration.
What's the website?
jtb.gov.ng.
Okay.
You call up the form. The form is displayed for you. You complete the form, the name of the company, the RC number, the registration date, and all that line of business. At the end, you submit the form. The system will validate it against the CAC database. If it's a valid company, then it moves on to our own system. Has the company been registered? If it has not yet been registered, then it registers it and now assigns a TIN to it, and it gets back to you with the unique TIN displayed for you on our system.
Just as I'm sitting there, because you've spoken about a third party now, the CAC.
Yeah.
I can do that cross-checking.
Everything.
And everything will be done online. That will be the day. I believe you, but I'm very happy that we are moving that way. Now, there's something we are coasting home now. Malam Abubakar spoke about, for example, if a company is about to pay me dividend, they withholding tax, that it will now go automatically into the system. And we spoke earlier about the linkages. Are you working in such a way that this will really, really work out? If I go to the immigration office to acquire a passport or renew my passport, and I have a TIN number, if I tell them, is immigration sufficiently involved in this project for me not to have any ASUS? If I go and register, if I want to acquire a driver's license, is the Road Safety Commission or the state VIOs, or whatever office is in charge of that, are they sufficiently involved in this, or you are working alone?
Those bodies are fully represented even in our steering committee, the implementation steering
fully
committee.
Represented? Fully
represented in all our meetings. So it's not a case of we take decisions and inform them later. They are involved in the decision-making process.
I won't be going up and down. You know the way things work in Nigeria. Go and see that man. Go to that office. Come back tomorrow.
Because they are involved in the decision-making process. If you look at even the driver's license application, you see a U-TIN already on that form. Today is not mandatory because they are part of the implementation. They know we have not deployed to everywhere, so they can't make it mandatory. But the moment they know that a lot of individuals should have the number, of course they will make it mandatory, because since they are part of the process. The same with immigration. They are also fully represented. Today they may not be asking you what is your TIN to obtain your passport. They will know when we are ready. Even in the course of this awareness program, when we were in Enugu, a steering committee member who represents immigration was with us at Enugu. When we were in Minna, a steering committee member who represents road safety was with us in Minna. So even in this sensitization, they are involved. Today, in the Southwest, the National Security Advisor's representative was here with us, alongside the Governor's Forum representative, also on the steering committee. They were here. So in everything that we are doing, we are carrying them along.
Okay. Finally, and I'll come to you also for your final words. This project, you have selected 6 pilot states, and like I said earlier on, other states have followed, about 15 of them. But let's go practical. Let's look at me, Muyiwa Matuluku. If I decide tomorrow morning, as in tomorrow morning, that I want to register for TIN, are you ready?
Yeah, we are ready. We are ready to the extent that if you get to any of the states that this system has been deployed, you'll be able to register. Yes.
For a fact?
Yes.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Oduba, if I go tomorrow morning to the nearest tax office, whether be state or federal, are you ready?
Yes, to the extent like he said, for those states that we've deployed. If, for example, you are living in Lagos and you desperately say you want to register for TIN, today we've deployed to Oyo State. Oyo State is registering.
Good.
Oyo State have registered more than 3,000 taxpayers
Already.
They've issued cards to them. Ogun State has also started the process as well. So Lagos State may not be registering today, but if, assuming you now say, I need that thing today, you can drive to Oyo State, you register, or you can drive to Ogun State, you register.
Okay. Now, there are people in the rural areas, people who will not be like you and me that will just come into a tax office, but we need to capture them into the tax net, so to say. What are your plans for rural dwellers?
Okay, when we were designing the system, one of the things we did in all our decision-making process, as far as this system is concerned, we are very mindful of the peculiarities of our own environment, Nigeria. So even in designing the system, for the biometrics equipment, there are two different types. There is one that is almost like a permanent thing that sits somewhere that a taxpayer walks up to and he registers in the comfort of a tax office. But we also provided for what we refer to as mobile biometrics equipment that allows the tax officers to go along to any area they so desire to register taxpayers. So it is even possible for those tax authorities that in the future, when they will be carrying out tax drives, they can even go with those mobile equipment. So have you registered or have you paid tax? No. Oh, I have not even paid tax because I have never even registered. They can register the person there because we have mobile equipment which they can take along and do the registration. So we provided for those in rural areas, those in the hinterlands, the creeks, those who are mobile, that they don't even stay in one place. Now you can say, where exactly are you? So we have made provisions for all that from the design.
Okay. For clarifications on other matters surrounding the TIN project, Tax Matters spoke to two gentlemen, a former chairman of a state board of internal revenue and a serving one. Sir, we consider you as a unique person. You were the chairman of the Niger State Board of Internal Revenue, and by that virtue, a member of the Joint Tax Board for several years before moving on to this exalted position. Now, this taxpayer identification number scheme, what do you think are the benefits derivable by the states and by all?
You see, every time we go for fact allocation meeting, most states complain of inadequate, allocation. And now at the time, we resolve that everybody should go back to drawing board, to look inward, to ensure that he generates a lot of revenue from the state internally. And now with this thing, it will improve the revenue generation. It will, bring more taxpayers into the net, and it will block a lot of leakages. So by so doing, by implication, the revenue will improve, and thereby it will augment whatever you are receiving from federation allocation. And I have been telling my colleagues that with the introduction of the team, definitely all our problems in terms of IGR will be solved because the leakages will be blocked.
You are the chairman of the Oyo State Board of Internal Revenue. We were informed that Oyo State has already started registering taxpayers. When did you start?
We started exactly 16th of July 2012. That was when we started.
How come you had that kind of head start over all other states?
And now I think you have been told, even in the long speech of the executive secretary and the project manager, that Oyo State was one of the first states who paid its counterpart fund.
Okay.
I think in the southwest we were the first, and all over the country I think we were among the 6 states that paid. That was why.
And
we
you
started
were among
ahead.
the pilot states.
Exactly.
Okay, so you started 16th of July.
Exactly.
Like how many people have you registered today?
Now, I think as at the time of this program, we've registered well over 3,000, and the registration continues.
If I want to register, if a taxpayer wants to register in Oyo State now, where can they go? How many points are available?
For now, we have just a center in the Secretariat, which is the head office of the the Board of Internal Revenue, the Revenue House. But like the project manager said, there are 3 mobile devices that can be used elsewhere. And in our registration exercise, the 3 mobile devices have been used all over because invitation to come for registration have been done to the formal and informal people, and the registration have continued at home and outside.
On fears being expressed on the role of the federal government in this matter, did you ever have any fear that this was a ploy by the federal government to take over your powers as tax collecting authorities?
Well, I want to say the skepticism was there. People had a fear, but because it's a constitutional matter, some of us didn't have that fear so much, and that was why we rushed to pay. Not just rushing without thinking. Mm-hmm. We know it's a constitutional matter which cannot just be taken, a decision taken in an erratic manner. Mm-hmm. So that was why we paid. Now, but for now, other states have seen that it cannot be done as they were expecting.
You are not of the view that this is another ploy of the federal government to take over everything?
You see, initially we had that fear, but I was one of the participants that went to Canada for the conference, and we saw where the Canadian had one revenue agency, federal government and state and local government. Every month, whatever they collect, they share it. But when we came back, we had the fear that maybe federal government wants to take over the taxation of the country. And when we examine the procedure and the legal aspect, we now realize that the main essence is to increase the revenue of all the states, including local governments. And those trying to dodge away tax evasion or tax evasion will be stopped by this, TIN number.
Chineke me, they don't increase my salary money. No be mistake. Oga accountant do so. Papa Junior, you never hear of Peter. Now the new MD be that. Talk now.
Peter, na Personal Income Tax Amendment Act, where Mr. President just signed for law to better the life of him people, so them to go get more money to enjoy with them family. You see this amended act, they don't reduce the tax with you on top your salary money. They can't increase consolidated allowance money where we go to get every month. And you know, say, now the president will listen if you do better thing for the people.
Ah, Mr. President, you do well, oh. I'm blessing you, they think of me when you sign this bitter. Now I feel do boku things this year. I feel rent shop for Mama Junior, buy textbook for Junior, send money go village, make the thing begin build my house.
So you say I'm the landlord?
Of course. Oh, you this is I call country for you. Peter, Peter, hey, Peter.
JTB, creating a tax-friendly environment.
Back to our guests. Okay. We want to thank you most sincerely for coming. We wish you the best of luck in this project. The way things are going now, how do you see the project 12 months from now?
Yeah, 12 months from now, we should have covered every state of the federation and registration going on. But again, I think one other thing which we want to emphasize here is to call on the public. We urge the public to give us a cooperate with various tax authorities so that we actually get this database in place. We emphasis now is actually on non-oil revenue. We have a situation whereby most of the states depend on oil revenue. The IGR is just about in some cases less than 10% of their total budget. So for us to get out of that situation, we have to go and we just need to give this project every support it's deserved, so that we are able to have in the first place a comprehensive list in simple time of taxpayers, both individuals and corporate body, and then that will give us opportunity to adequately assess and make assessments, and then in that way we will be able to improve our revenue generation.
It's on that note of appeal that we'll conclude this discussion on the taxpayer identification number scheme. As we heard from the two gentlemen, it is in the interest of the taxpayer just as it is in the interest of the government. And of course that means that it is in the interest of all of us. And so watch out for the registration officer in your community if you cannot go there yourself. I deliberately did not say watch out for the taxman because I don't want you to run into the creeks. This is about registration, simple registration, and it will help you, it will help this country. Join us again next week on this same station, same day of the week, for a fresh episode of Tax Matters. Thank you for watching.